That'll be awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in with us. I'm just going to get my screen share working here. There we go. Cool. So, Krista and I just wanted to bring y'all together and thank you so much for joining us today. Because she knows a lot of you have been real interested in learning more about what she's been up to with her vertical gardens. So, my name's Sony Boito, and I'm really excited to partner with Krista on this endeavor. She and I met, when she was working at the tasting room with my husband. So as he got to know Krista and her passion for holistic health and, just wellness in general, he was like, you guys have to meet. So we met and hit it off. We took walks together in the evenings when I still lived out in the suburbs. And like I said, I'm super excited to team up with her on this endeavor too. So we're moms on a mission to get more fruits and vegetables into people's bodies, into our bodies, into our families' bodies, into anybody, and help, just help others do the same. So one of the ways we are doing this is as Healthy Living affiliates with the Juice Plus company. And we're really excited and grateful for the opportunity to share some more with you. So the future of growing is vertical, right? Tower garden is, I don't even know if I would call it the future of growing. It's the now of growing. So here's some really cool points about growing with the tower garden. It uses 98% less water than growing in the ground, 90% less space. It creates 30% more yield, and it does that 3 times faster. And it's safer and just as nutritious as growing in the ground. And there's some research that backs that up. There was a study that was conducted at the University of Mississippi that compared growing in the soil and ground to growing in our Tower Garden Flex model, which we see the Flex over here on the right. So let's dig in a little bit more about the Juice Plus company. We started with our flagship, our fruit and vegetable blends, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on those today. We're going to focus more on the Tower Garden. So our fruit and vegetable blend, what's going on there is they take 20 different fruits and vegetables, they throw them in a giant blender, like a giant industrial Vitamix, grind those up, dry those powders out, and then, or dry that slub, that pulp out into powders. And then they take those powders and they put them either into a capsule or into our soft chewables. So we've got our fruit and veggie capsules that got us started. Then we brought in our berry blend, which taps into all of the great antioxidants and phytonutrients that are in grapes and berries, and several other, there's like 10 different fruits in that blend. And then we introduced our omega blend, which is a broad spectrum omega blend. It's got omega 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. And those are all plant sourced and algae sourced. So there's no fish oil in our omega blend, which means that's really awesome because you have no fishy burps and you don't have to worry about contamination and whatnot. So very clean, awesome omega blend that is just fantastic. It's been phenomenal for me in reducing my joint pain. And it's one of my favorite products that we have. So, all right. And then we have our complete bars and our complete shakes. And we also have a new shake mix called our Perform Shakes. So all of this is plant-based. Everything is vegan with the exception of our bars. They do have a bit of honey in them. So I know most vegans do not allow any animal products of any type. So there is a bit of honey in our bars. So if you're vegan, avoid those, but anything else would be for you. And so for those who want to eat more fruits and vegetables, because not a lot of people do, we'll take a look at some of those numbers in a moment. But for folks that want to eat more fruits and veggies, and I definitely recommend that you try eating fruits and veggies off of our tower garden. They are fantastic. Mwah. So why fruits and veggies? Why is this such a focus for us? Because it's clear, right? I have a friend who says, once I saw the American Cancer Society's poster with all these fruits and vegetables and, saw that could help reduce my risk of getting cancer, that really motivated her to partner with us and start eating more. So what's recommended now is that we have 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, and at least 90%, probably closer to 95 or maybe even 99, are not eating that many servings. On a good day, there was a point where I was eating a completely vegan diet. I might have gotten to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. It takes a lot to eat all of that produce. So, why so many? Because our produce that's in our grocery stores, which is where most of us get our produce from, that produce is picked well before it ripens, because it has to be transported thousands of miles. And so it has to be picked before it ripens, or by the time it gets to the store, it will have already rotted. So the downfall there, though, is that when it's ripening is when that plant becomes the most nutritious and the most beneficial for us to eat. So we're not getting the same levels of nutrition in our produce. It's traveling thousands of miles to get to us. And we're not eating enough variety. I think we probably maybe end up with kind of a rotation of, peas and carrots tonight, and tomorrow night broccoli, and then spinach, and, like wash, rinse, repeat. Okay. So lots of variety is so, so important for our health. And so we've got some answers around that. But first, let's look a little bit more at some of the present day problems we're dealing with on our food supply. Like we mentioned, transportation of our fruits and vegetables. A lot of crops are now genetically modified to make them resistant to pesticides, but they still get embedded into the plants, and then we're eating those pesticides. And so that is a huge, huge problem in terms of our health and cost, right? It's not, $2.60 for an apple, maybe. So it's just, the cost of groceries is skyrocketing. So that's where the tower garden comes in. To me, this is even more important than planting trees. I think planting trees is important too, but I think that thinking of this as any other appliance that you would have in your kitchen. So thinking of, once upon a time, we didn't have refrigerators in our kitchen. Well, now everyone has a refrigerator in their kitchen. Maybe you've even got a refrigerator in your home office too, right? Or your garage. Okay. So we got lots of those appliances now. And so I think of the tower garden the same way. This is another appliance, and this appliance yields amazing, tasty, yummy, yummy food. And so that could be any kind of vegetable, any kind of herb, lots of different types of fruit, as long as they're not roots, right? So if you can't grow like a bunch of beets or something like that. But let me say, I do have a friend who does grow beets in the tower garden because she loves to eat the greens. And so she just puts one into the little port and then grows it for the greens, not for the root of the beet so much. All right. So you also could not do anything that is a bush or a tree. So like you couldn't grow a lemon tree on your tower garden. You might sprout it there and get it started, but then you would need to transplant it into a pot or the ground eventually. Okay. So again, like we said, it conserves water. It requires very little space. The Flex model's a little bit wider than our home model. And if you're interested in those exact dimensions, we can look that up. So just let us know. All right. So this guy is Tim Blank. So Tim worked at Epcot at Walt Disney World, and he was a project manager for them for 12 years. And one of the projects he worked on were these vertical towers that you see him standing next to. And so this is what evolved into the Tower Garden. He said he wanted, like I said, a Tower Garden to be considered an appliance that every household has, just like they have a refrigerator. So here's a little bit on how it works. Let me, hang on. I want to adjust the settings so that you guys can hear the audio for the video here. Computer sound and video clip. There we go. No, this is really cool. Check this out.
Tower Garden's state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better-tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your Tower Garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden the healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
Yeah, so that's how it works. It's pretty cool. It's very low maintenance. You pretty much just fill it up with water periodically and check the roots that they're not getting into the pump. The pump is on a timer, and so you don't have to worry about, did I remember to water the garden enough today? It's taking care of that automatically. So we've been featured in magazines, like I think this was Good Housekeeping magazine. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, I want to say this is the Bell Book and Candle restaurant. I know there are several restaurants that have community gardens that they've set up in their spaces. And so they are serving fresh Tower Garden produce. When you grow vertically, you save space. I always say, keep the raised beds for your carrots and your beets and your potatoes and whatnot, and then grow everything else on your Tower Garden. Looks like they have some really delicious peppers on here. Those might be eggplants. So I mentioned earlier, if it's something that's a bush, that's a bit difficult, but you can grow. I know peppers usually can get into big bushes, but you can definitely grow peppers. Like I grow bell peppers and jalapenos and habaneros and all kinds of peppers on ours. Tower Gardens are in local classrooms. I have another partner here in the Houston area who is working with Goose Creek ISD and one of their technical high schools, and they've just brought in a community garden for their culinary program, for their agriculture program. They're looking at all sorts of different ways to work it into their curriculum. And then the folks with the preschools have heard about it. So they're looking at getting started as well. So there's just, fantastic. When kids know what they are growing, they want to eat it and they get so excited. And, so I'm so excited for Krista to start growing with her family. So it comes all ready to grow. You have everything that you need. So you've got the reservoir, right down to the seeds. This is called rock wool. This is the material that we use for growing in, because plants need water, they need light, they need air and minerals, but they don't necessarily need soil. So like the video showed, we put the minerals into the water, and the roots are growing in this rock wool medium, and that makes this soilless. This is the timer, and then your pump, and then there's a kit for checking your pH, because if your pH balance is off in your system, then you can adjust it as needed. So it really has everything that you need in that growing system. So here's some kiddos watching their little babies sprout. There's little babies coming up here. It's always one of my favorite things, is watching when they're sprouting. And it really does grow this fast, you all. Well, I'll show you mine in a bit. And I just planted mine like the beginning of September, and we're already eating off of it like crazy. So I mentioned my friend Deborah. Deborah says she was spending like $180 a month on organic produce. And the Tower Garden, you know, you can be in 6-8 weeks eating off of it. And you can, if you do the installment setup, that would come out to $56 a month. So you actually can get to the point where this is saving you money. And then you're going to, I've had my systems for 12 years, right? So I've replaced the pump like once or twice. And that was like a $20 or $30 part. Otherwise, this appliance keeps on giving. These folks are RVing, and whenever they go anywhere, they'll pack their towers onto their RV, and then they get to their next stop and they bring them out and fill them up with water and just keep on trucking. So those plants travel all over with them. These are my friends Doug and Sharon. They live down in Florida, and that's their kiddo with her friend. Just again, like I say, the kids love it. And here, this was an exhibit that I went to where they had all sorts of, these are the Tower Garden home systems. So it's just a little more compact, but you also see the lights. The lights work on either the Tower Garden home or the Tower Garden Flex, either way. So the Flex again is on the right, and then the home is on the left. And so there's a little bit of what you could expect in terms of pricing. Sorry, my mouse is kind of wigging out there. The Tower Garden home would come out to about $21.25 per week, and then the Flex $13.96 per week. But like I say, that's just for, you know, until it's paid for. You can of course just pay in full if you prefer, but we do offer, you know, interest-free 12-month installments. There's no credit check or anything like that. It just, you choose whether you want to pay in full or do a monthly setup. All right. So there's some more pictures of my friend Sharon's gardens. They look so amazing. So let's see if I can, there we go. Oh, on a balcony. Yeah, we actually, this is not my balcony, but I have in the past lived in an apartment on the 4th floor where I was growing out on our balcony. That was a lot of fun. Actually, funny story. We were on that 4th floor balcony, and there are some rods that the sections of the garden, you know, just have some support rods, and I didn't have those in there because you could just kind of jigsaw the sections together. And I figured, oh, it's not windy, no big deal. Well, my husband moved the entire lid over to put more water in it, and I heard everything fall, and I was like, oh no. So those sections fell from the 4th floor all the way down to the ground. Now, obviously my plants didn't survive. And fortunately, they were just little babies. So I just restarted. It was no big deal. They were only like 3 or 4 weeks old. But those sections, nothing happened to them. I'm still using the exact same equipment to this day. So I don't recommend dropping it off of a 4th floor, you know, 4-story building. but that is definitely a testament to how durable they are. All right. Even Jessica Alba has gotten on board out in LA. And again, you can grow all sorts of things. So all kinds of greens. I've learned about so many different kinds of lettuce and kale. And we've grown green beans and peas, Brussels sprouts, cucumbers, tomatoes, melons, strawberries, eggplants, basil, cilantro, parsley, thyme. I have almost all of those. I'm not growing any flowers right now, but I am growing all of those herbs. I'm growing most of these greens and whatnot. I've got some cucumbers and tomatoes going. So we'll go take a look at that in a moment. Okay, so that is the presentation. Anybody have questions? Krista, anything you wanted to share?
This is something that I'm super excited about. Having healthy food and eating correctly has always been a passion of mine, number one. Number two, I have 2 kids. One of them has multiple autoimmune disorders as well as autism. The other one has ADHD and mold-induced PANS. So diet has been a huge thing for us. We see a functional medicine doctor, yada, yada, yada. This is a huge tool for us because trust me, buying stuff for those special diets is not inexpensive. And these are the things that we need. And so by doing this, this is going to afford us the chance to eat even better. And also I want to share with others because it's a passion of mine, sharing it with the others and making it so much more cost effective because God knows organic. Yeah. So it's eating healthy, doing the right thing, and sharing it with others is a huge passion of mine.
Yeah, awesome. And do you want to share what you've got there in your living room?
Well, what you see behind me are all the components. We just got ours in and I'm getting ready to set it up. So we've got all the parts. We have the rock.
Can't quite hear you that far away. So
okay.
Can you bring your mic closer?
There we go. I've got behind me, there's the pump. I've got some of my extra set of minerals. I have my rock wool and little cones that we put it into. I've got the top half.
Yeah, go ahead, pull them out.
Yeah, so this is the one I'm super excited about. Besides, is this the smaller one? No, this is the bigger one. The other thing I'm super excited about is at the very top, I'm going to have several rings where I can grow some herbs. And since I do not just culinary herbs, but medicinal herbs, so I'm looking at putting some of those in. So that's what I'm excited about. And I would like to get to the point where I can get another one of these in another couple months. Then if you can see over here, I'm going to take the camera off and hopefully that is the base of the tower garden. And it also has you can see more goodies underneath there, more solutions, more levels. And then I also have the tower garden base here so I can roll it around since mine will be outside. And the cool thing that I love about it is I'm a homeschooler. And so along with this, they have a Sony, they have a STEM curriculum that goes along with this. So kids get excited about what's going on with the tower garden and doing their own food. Even though when I'm growing tomatoes, my youngest goes and picks off every single tomato on the plant. I need a tower garden of tomatoes just for him. Anyways, it's fun that you can do something with this where you can do the vertical learning. They can see, touch, feel, taste, smell, and put into practice everything they're eating. And so behind you, you will see in real life, not just the pretty pictures, but in real life, you'll see what Sony has. That's her tower garden. And I saw it a month ago and it just had little sprigs off of it.
Yeah, so a month ago, this was seedlings. I had planted them. I planted them September 9th because I journal, right? And I just play with this, but I like to kind of keep track. I kind of just keep little logs for myself, little notes. I keep them just in my iPhone. Maybe I could get more fancy and have like a dedicated notebook or something, but they're scattered about in my iPhone. So I just search and find it. And Yeah, so these guys went in September 9th, and this is what they're looking like now. So here's a little tour. Let's see, I've got a couple of different lettuces. So this is like a baby romaine. This is a blue Scotch kale. Down here I have arugula. That gets real peppery, super tasty. Down here you can see, do you see those yellow flowers? Those are tomatoes. So I am growing tomatoes indoors in the fall, right? So I've got a fan back here that I just keep running to kind of keep the air moving and, you know, help with some pollination, but I will also go and be the bee and manually pollinate those. That's my experiment this fall, because you don't really usually grow tomatoes in the fall, right? So we'll see how that goes. I also have some cucumber vines down here, some squash and cucumber vines going. Up towards the top, I've got a beautiful Swiss chard going here. So these are just nice baby leaves for now. Those will grow. Those will get huge. Those are going to get the size of my head easily. I've had that happen many times when I've grown. I've got some basil working here, some parsley, beautiful cilantro over here. And so, yeah, you get the idea. I've got all kinds of different greens and herbs, and I'm experimenting with the flowering stuff here indoors. You see this kind of spidery looking piece here. So that's the lights. I turned them off right now because they'd be overpowering for the camera. But those are all adjustable. So as the plants, you know, if they're smaller, you move them in tighter. As they grow bigger, you move them out. And yeah, so that is our overview. Does anyone have any questions?
Please ask away. Now my sister just joined, and she's right there next to you on the view. They're huge farmers, so I know that's a big thing. And I think that's you, Edward and Holly. Thank you, and Miss Sonda.
It's looking like she can't talk right now.
Okay. And by the way, she's signing, I understand a little bit. She is a level 3 state certified deaf ed interpreter. So let me ask her. All right. See if she'll type over there. Oh, Holly's driving. Miss Sonda, did you have any questions?
Well,
Everybody's
I've got a flex garden on my back patio.
Oh, awesome.
To say, when I first ordered it, I didn't get the wheels because I didn't think I needed them. I love the wheels. I just got them installed yesterday, and yeah, you need wheels. They're wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So Sony, on the in-home one that you have, with the light structure, what's the circumference? I'm looking at where I could put my second one, and I want one inside my house.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually have the flex inside my house. I don't actually have the home unit, because we decided to allocate that whole breakfast nook space. It just made sense for that to be where we put our garden.
Okay.
So yeah, but we can look that up.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I think I'm gonna get another one.
Awesome.
That's
okay, so I missed the first part of the presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. So these can be used both inside and outside?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And how much space do they take up about?
So the one that I showed you, it's about 3 feet wide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And these are aquaponic?
Aquaponic.
Thank you. Okay.
Technically, if we want to get specific, they are aeroponic.
Aeroponic. Oh, I'm sorry.
Aquaponic, you would have fish involved and all of that.
Well, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and they're not hydroponic, because technically with that, the roots are immersed into water.
Right.
Some of the problems with that is root rot and whatnot. And we don't have that because ours is, we showed a video, Beth, and I'll make sure that Krista is able to get it over to you, where it shows how the water kind of trickles down and it
Okay.
cycles, right? It's on a pump
Okay.
with a timer so that it cycles. And
Okay.
so, you know, for 15 minutes or so, the roots are actually just exposed out to the air. What's
Okay.
really beneficial about that is it makes the plants even stronger.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's an all-inclusive product when you buy it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The growing systems have literally everything you need to get started.
Okay. Sorry. I'm at my daughter-in-law's and her robo vacuum is going nuts. Anyways. So, okay. I think that's the only questions I had. 3-foot square. It does have rollers. It comes as an all-inclusive. How many grow spots are there?
On a flex model, there are 20.
Okay.
And on the Tower Garden Home, hang on, let me do the math. I think there's 52.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
Okay. All right. And well, I saw tomatoes, I saw cucumbers, primarily greens. Green beans? I mean, broccoli, would any of that work?
Yep. Anything
Okay.
that's not a tree or a bush or a root.
Okay. Okay. Anything that's not a tree or bush or a root. Okay. Well, my tomato plants end up like trees. So, in my garden, okay. So peppers wouldn't, that would be better.
You can do peppers. I do all kinds of bell peppers and jalapenos and habaneros and yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, and, how many of these do you have?
I have 2, and one of them
Okay.
I have had since 2012.
Okay. And, so as far as production, what are you looking at for that? I mean, because obviously it's year round, but
yeah, the growing season is longer. This is Cooper, Krista, Silky.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Cooper loves to make his Zoom cameos. But yeah, as far as production and yield, so yes, you can grow year round. Obviously, I was showing that I'm growing tomatoes in the fall. So you've got extended growing seasons. You know, that's where I say to really just experiment because, you know, it may actually work, even though it's something that you think, oh no, this is something we grow in the spring. You know, this is second here in Texas, right?
I have a huge garden and I grow year round, you know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There was a University of Mississippi study that did a side-by-side comparison to growing in ground versus growing in the tower. And they did several different crops, but they like averaged out to be about 35% higher in yield in the towers versus in the ground.
Okay. I have seen a lot of various tower products advertised and wanted to, I mean, you always see these amazing plants. So to see that in like real life is awesome because on the commercials, it always looks really good. So
yeah.
But I was at her house a month ago and like I said, they just had seedlings. So to see it explode in 4 weeks, it's like, holy heck, you know, oh my gosh.
Okay. So you use seedlings to start like your tomatoes, etc.
You can do it either way. There are seedling providers that you can purchase seedlings from, or you can grow direct from seed. I planted those as seed on September 9th.
Those tomato plants?
Yes.
Okay. And those, Krista, you're showing me the little
The rock wool
seed starter. And this is a wool. Okay.
Yeah, and you put it like right in there.
Okay.
And it's a rock wool, as in volcanic lava rocks.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. I have all my questions. I'm sorry to monopolize.
No, those are great questions.
You can go, David, this is what I want for Christmas, or at least consider this for Christmas.
Definitely.
Well, we have wanted to look into that because we do have an in-ground garden, but obviously, to produce enough to feed, even 2,000 square feet of organic garden, and because of the drought that we had this summer, we have a lot of water catchment systems. However, if we go another 6 to 8 weeks where I'm using 200 gallons every couple of days, a 350 gallon water catchment doesn't go very far. So,
Yeah.
and they're predicting another summer like this again next summer. And I still like my stuff out in the yard. However, we have to come up with some alternatives.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Some things to do when you have that kind of heat would be to take frozen water bottles and put those into that reservoir. That'll help keep the water cool, which will help keep the roots cool. So, and then you can do the vice versa. If you've got a frost coming, you can stick a fish tank heater in there. I don't really do anything here in the Houston area other than maybe that. I've done that once or twice, but mostly what I do is if there's a frost coming, I just get a big giant contractor trash bag and cover it up with that.
Okay.
And, once the frost goes, then I just pull that off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's for your outside one.
Right.
Correct?
Right. If I were growing outside. Yeah. If I was growing inside, of course, wouldn't have that concern.
I'm the coast. So, yeah, so I'm in LaPorte, just southeast of Houston. So,
No, I saw Sony when Sony and I met, she had her 2 tower gardens and they were both outside and they were like, even in the winter. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the information. That's awesome. Stop. Get down. So.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, Beth.
So does anybody have any other questions? Anything else I can provide for you or do for you? All right, Sony, back to you.
Yeah, well, no, just thanks to you, Krista, for partnering up and becoming a Healthy Living affiliate with me again. I'm really excited to embark on that journey, and thank everybody else for taking the time out of their day to tune in with us.
Yes, thank you so much. And please follow up with me later if you have any other questions and let me know how I can help you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
My pleasure.